Hello everyone and welcome to the special broadcast. By this time tomorrow, the world's largest and biggest electoral exercise would be over. And people of India would have chosen their representatives in all 543 constituencies and the 18th Lok Sabha, those who will be sitting in the 18th Lok Sabha, that would have been sealed by this time tomorrow in the electronic voting machines. It has been a long election, one of the longest perhaps in recent political history. So in the next 1 hour, we'll try and decode that is Modi 3.0 almost a done deal. It's only a matter of perhaps whether it will be 272 plus or just a few seats less than that. And does India Bloc hold a chance? With me, several experts who have been, going through all the numbers and also have been visiting on ground to get you the real feedback. Sanjay Kumar, psephologist and professor at CSDS. We have Shogata Srinivas Raju, senior journalist. Manisha Priyam, political analyst. Pradeep Bhati is joining us. We also have Siddharth Yadav. We are expecting Adil Singh Boparai of the Congress to join me shortly. Sanjay Kumar, the BJP managed to set this narrative that this was about 400 par, not 272. We did not really discuss the 272 number as much as we talked about whether they'll be able to reach that target. So what do you think has been the biggest takeaway of this election?
I don't think that the BJP was able to set that narrative. BJP tried to set that narrative that this election is all about 370 for BJP and 400 par for NDA, which BJP failed to do. If they had been successful in building that or setting that narrative, or if they had even moved in the direction, I think we would have not been discussing 272 par or not par. I think the big difference in 2019 and 2024 Lok Sabha elections, in my opinion, is 2019 was really a national election. There was a national issue, and this issue was of nationalism. The 2019 election was held at the backdrop of Pulwama air strike. So that was a truly national election. Prime Minister Modi was at the top of all the affairs. This election was not contested as a national election. I did not see one issue which was cutting across the country, nor even cutting across large number of states. So BJP did try to pick up Mandir as an issue, Article 370 as an issue, but this did not resonate with the voters of not even Uttar Pradesh. So there were several issues in several states, moving from one state to another. I think that's the big difference from a national election to a truly kind of a disaggregate state election, which will give us a aggregated result.
But then will you not agree that one image which was looming large in this entire election was Prime Minister Narendra Modi? So he made it about that presidential election, which is about his own guarantees.
I would disagree. He did not make it a presidential election, but the desire was to make it a presidential election. He did try. If 2024 election had turned into a presidential election, my own sense is that whatever may be the performance at this moment, we don't know how BJP is going to perform and how Congress and the India Alliance are going to perform. But if this election was turned into a presidential election successfully by BJP, BJP would have performed much better compared to what they are likely to perform. That we would know only on the 4th of June.
And I like that skepticism and also that suspense that you continue to build here, sir. Let's wait for 4th of June, and also by this time tomorrow we'll get a lot of exit poll data which will show certain understanding or trends. What according to you did, there are states which made it a localized elections while the BJP wanted it to be about Mr. Modi. The overall theme was missing, but this image was there. Sanjay sir doesn't agree with me. What about you?
Yeah, thank you, Maria. I think, all elections, even in the past, I've looked at elections for the last 30 years, covered them for the last 30 years. All elections, there are certain universal issues. Even in this election, there were certain universal issues, and there are largely local issues. If you go to some corner of Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, I don't think the voter will be greatly worried about what the GDP growth rate will be, or if India is going to become the 5th largest economy. Those things never have been the case. But there are always emotive issues which tend to become, universal, and tend to sweep the entire country. For example, this time, how much ever people may say the Ram temple issue is not been there or not being acknowledged by the voter, or it's not surfacing anywhere. I feel that there is a quiet indebtedness with which the voter has carried that sentiment to the polling booth. That is the feeling that I get, because I talk to a lot of ordinary people, and they sort of, there is a quiet indebtedness that it has happened. Whether that is right or wrong, we will know very soon if that has played a role. But there is also,
and is that also that indebtedness that you're talking about? Is that sentiment strong enough when you have other, bread and butter issues on a daily basis, like ration, like महंगाई, ये सब जो issues है?
See, the problem is that the opponent or the opposition parties have not been able to put up an emotional or a cultural issue forward. See, elections are always won on emotive issues. There are economic issues. The people speak about growth and inflation and all kinds of things. But elections, you need to have an emotional connect with the voter.
Okay, so that emotional connect, Manisha Priyam, and according to you, if there is no emotive issue in this election, then what is the issue on which election till these 6 phases have been fought on?
So if you look at this election, no two political moments I hold are ever the same. It's a political landscape of India that's been written and rewritten. I would say that the one big lesson of this long drawn election is that political consultants and the pitch with which they wanted political leaders to perform has been exhausted. The heat of this country, it's traveled. At this point of time, when the Angrejwas ruled us, even they packed up the Lashkars and they went up to the hills. And you can see that India's democracy is traveled. Yes, there have been many local elections and many emotive issues in many political arenas. And don't think that it's only the opposition that raised the political issues. By the end, even Prime Minister Modi was leaving the political consultant script aside. He was a local leader. I was looking at the detailed campaigns in Purvanchal, in Bihar. There were issues saying, oh, Fala Patel, he's not listening to us. Fala Pradhan is not listening to us. And everybody would say, ab DLW ke guest house mein aa jayenge. Now, would this country even know where the DLW guest house is? Would this country know whether it was their Prime Minister, their local MP, the MLA or the corporator coming to town? How many times did the Prime Minister stay in Patna? When was it done the last time? There were times when I would hear about particular constituencies in remote Bihar areas that this country doesn't care about. I was told, okay, fine, but the Prime Minister, when he comes, would be understood to belong to X, Y, Z class category, caste category. He will tilt the balance. Having said that, let me tell you, whether they get the seats or not, I don't know. Our brothers to the left, especially in red, Sanjay Kumar will know the numbers. But I know there was Samvidhan Kisan Jawan. There was also Samvidhan Kisan Palwan. And I say a million mutinies in India, but one election result. And I think let that get over. I can tell you that I have enjoyed this election. When I started off on the Shanti Path, there were donated tulips from Netherlands. I would see them wilting, a little heat. By the time I have come back, I can't see anything but the spotlights that you've put on us. No flowers, just a desert. So, हजारों साल बाद नरगिस जो है वो अब इस
हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल तो मैं यही बोलूंगी कि इस चुनाव के लिए भी भारत की जनता बेसब्री से वैसे ही इंतजार कर रही है.
So for all the talks that were there, that this चुनाव में हवा नहीं है, buzz नहीं है, and towards the end we realized that there is a lot of buzz, there is a lot of excitement, and also there is lot of khichatani. I mean, the tug of war is visible on ground.
Yes.
Well, Maria, I think it was a very spirited campaign.
Yes.
The Congress party.
And to be fair, the opposition did run a spirited campaign.
No, a very spirited campaign, and we ran a campaign on constructive issues. And our analysis is that by the end of it, it was BJP versus the people of this country. Of course, the fourth will indicate which way is the tide turning. But be that as it may, as far as the Congress party is concerned, our primary issues, and I reiterate this, was unemployment, was price rise, was the Agniveer scheme, was the demolition of institutions, was the threat of the constitution. But something which is unfortunate, which has happened, and which perhaps maybe not on camera but off camera people may agree, is the lowering of the discourse. I don't think that the political discourse has been as low as in the current election. And unfortunately, the Prime Minister of this country has significantly contributed to it. You know, of course, we may be political adversaries, we may have different ideologies, but to target the opposition, to target specific sections of the society in this brazen and degrading manner, I think is unfortunate.
Okay, Siddharth?
I feel this
there are a lot
election...
of meetings that I'm told is being held in the BJP headquarters, all narrative setting meetings, you know, how you should be approaching first, that is tomorrow, and how you should be approaching fourth.
No,
what kind of briefing has been given to you?
No, all the meetings that are happening there are for the celebrations, preparation that have to happen on the 4th. The people of this country have decided...
You won't celebrate exit poll results?
We would definitely, but we are a cadre-based party. We already know, we have taken the feedback from the lakhs and crores of Mandal Adhyaksh, Booth Adhyaksh, Panna Pramukhs, and we already know what the sentiment of this country is and what the people of this country are going to vote for. This election was definitely an election of very different moods, but one thing that I can make out from today's discussion is, at least after the 2024 win for Bharatiya Janata Party, nobody will be able to pinpoint or belittle the win by saying
but
this
win. But did you
win...
fight this election on any ideology?
No, let me just complete. Nobody will be able to pinpoint this win by saying 2019 में तो बस इस मुद्दे पे जीत गए थे, पुलवामा हुआ तो इसलिए जीत गए, 2014 में तो ऐसा हुआ था इसलिए जीत गए थे. At least for 2024, nobody will be able to say that. Because the core issue of this country is that the people have seen, people have lived through one India, one Bharat. They have seen how aspirations can be built. And those 10 years, these 10 years were of the years of building aspirations.
Maybe that is the reason why, Siddharth, we are seeing different elections in different states. Because aspirations are changing, requirements of people are changing, and what they think are the issues that should decide their vote is also changing.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
I was not expecting so many interruptions, but I'll just complete. So when people already know, and the people of Bharat are very smart. I'll request you, Maria, not to belittle their thinking. People of Bharat are very smart. They know what the issues are. They have voted on the issues. But when my friend from Congress says that the discourse was changed and we were fighting on issues, I still can't understand that vote jihad was the issue for this election, or Pakistan has a lot of power was the issue of this election.
None of those really gained any momentum. Please come in.
It is up to them, because
it's
those issues can't gain the momentum because the people don't want them to gain momentum.
And Akhilesh Yadav and Tejasvi Yadav in particular, because they have managed to send that message that they are fighting, that they are holding to their fort in which it was going to be a good battle.
Definitely there will be a great setback for BJP in Uttar Pradesh and in fact in entire India. People of the country are smart enough to understand that even presidential form of government is also in US is for 10 years. Nobody can remain president for more than 10 years in USA also.
8 years. But that's a different reason.
Now this is the argument that Modi should not win. The argument has come down to this.
Okay, so in even that case also, in that case also, President even Prime Minister will not get elected next time, coming days on the 4th of this. And the issues are such big issues are there related to farmers, related to youth, related to women, related to all the marginalized classes. What about the 80 crore plus people are begging? In kind of you have put them into in a situation where they are begging for.
Interestingly, I'll take that
and the
thought
same
and
they
thread
are
forward with Manisha Priyam. Manisha Priyam, yesterday I was doing a show from the ghats of Banaras. At Assi Ghat, there was someone who raised the issue of unemployment, mehengai and all those concerns. The woman sitting next to him, and she wasn't really part of the panel that I had set up, she said, whatever said and done, it is BJP that can give solution to all these issues. All these problems we understand, but we have faith in them. So the faith in the leadership, do you think that becomes an important point while all these issues, be it of unemployment or rural distress, which is real issues impacting people, has taken center stage because of opposition?
One thing that will have to be accepted, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and I am taking his name, which I had avoided keeping in mind that tomorrow is election day, is definitely a phenomena in the city of Kashi, Varanasi, Assi, whatever you want to say. I mean, it's very important to keep that in mind. I would stick my neck out and say that even Ayodhya doesn't give him the momentum that Varanasi does. This is his city. And I can say that there is a sense in which, there's a lot of ownership of him. I mean, that's a city that I've seen, it's seen the communists in the early days.
Yes.
It's seen so many people whose children were, called Russell, philosopher's town, etc. It wasn't without reason that Annie Besant, Madan Mohan Malviya, philosophy lives in the streets of
Only
that
city perhaps in India which has
That has-
Padma Shris in every bylines.
Every byline. And you have to realize that as old as Plato and Aristotle are, it's a 5th century BC city.
Yes.
And therefore, the place that you are in is very, very important, very, very special. But I would say that in the larger rural setting that Purvanchal is set in, and Purvanchal ka imagined capital is Varanasi, I would say that issues were being discussed. These are people who can be extremely rational and extremely emotional simultaneously. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi understands that he needs to deliver on the issues. He needs to solve those difficult quadratic equations that the Samajwadis once solved. And he's not been able to, he's breached that killa by understanding mathematical formulations that Samajwadis put there. So he is a very important political contender in the Purvanchal politics. Be that as it may, I think issues have held the ground.
Yes.
And kudos to the people of India that they've kept the respect for the Prime Minister on one side and kept the issues alive on the other. Yeah.
Sanjay Kumar, talking about this aspect, certainly there are issues which are there, but has India voted, or is India looking at emotive issues? Because when I asked Prime Minister Modi while he was on roadshow in Patna, I'd asked him that specific question, is this a referendum on you or his governance model? He tried to explain the two governance models, which is of his and of the opposition.
Maria, I do believe that emotive issues are important in elections, and emotive issues have become very important in large number of elections which country has seen during last 1 decade. But I don't think that in 2024 that there was any emotive issue. This election emotive issue was missing, and that is why whenever we kept talking and we're discussing on various television shows that there's no wave. If there is an emotive issue, then you start getting a sense that there is a wave. Since there was no emotive issue, that's my way of looking at the election. I did not find any emotive issue which is going to sway the voters, and if the voters get swayed away by an emotive issue, then they start neglecting, or the real issues get subsided. But I think this is an election where real issues were up front, and that is why I didn't see any
So
wave,
real
no
issues
emotive
were
issue.
on your face. That means opposition managed to hold its ground.
Absolutely, the opposition, I would say, so someone has to win election and some parties will lose election on the 4th of June. But I think opposition did put up a good fight, a brave fight against a party which is such a dominant party, dominant by various aspects. Look at their vote share in 2019, look at the number of people who are the members of the party. It's always said that, so many people who are the members of BJP. So opposition has really been able to put up a good fight.
So opposition has put up a good fight, but what appears at the moment is that, Sanjay Kumar is giving an indication and yet he's holding on. That's quintessential him. He's being skeptical. But yes.
Maria, I mean, I do agree that, you see, emotive and cultural are two very different things.
Yeah.
See, there is if you ask, was there an emotive issue like Pulwama? Probably there wasn't. There was a certain kind of default cultural and a civilizational backdrop that the BJP has created over the last decade, which has a certain space in the minds of at least Hindu voters. So that is a cultural default that the BJP has been able to create. When I sort of told you, a few minutes ago that, Congress party brought up all the rational issues ahead, economic issues, real issues. They fought really well, but they realized these things a little late after these first two phases. When they saw the turnout figures were not, going up, then they started building a narrative, and we don't know if that chatter is only on social media. In fact, today, very interestingly, I was watching the press conference of the Congress party, and they said our YouTube views have gone up several times.
That is the fact. Actually, on YouTube, Rahul Gandhi has more views than several parties.
Absolutely. So this is a game that the BJP was well versed in
10 years ago.
2017-16.
So you're playing on a pitch which BJP played on 10 years ago and has been and had actually perfected it in the last 10 years. You have arrived on that pitch perhaps too late, but when it is about the real issues of the people on the ground, is it only a chatter on the social media?
Well, not at all, but before I answer your question, people can be emotive about economic issues. For example, I hail from Punjab. There we are emotive about the vilification of the farmers by the BJP, calling us Khalistanis. In Haryana, people can be emotive about the ill treatment meted out to the Pahalwans and the wrestlers. In Bihar, people can be emotive about the Agniveer scheme, can be emotive about unemployment. So please understand, there is a distinction, and I partially agree with my friend there. There is a distinction between being emotive vis-a-vis economic issues, and there is a difference between emotive vis-a-vis cultural issues. Having said this, most certainly the BJP, and I have no qualms in saying this, and please don't take it otherwise, the BJP has captured all mediums of dissemination of information as far as the institutions are concerned.
On YouTube.
YouTube is social media.
And
YouTube
also
is social
on
media.
Instagram,
but wherever
you counted every reel of theirs with another reel. Every view with another view.
Wherever the BJP has the stick and the carrot and the stick, there the BJP has certainly captured those institutions. But be that as it may, yes, we've stolen a march on alternate mediums. But lastly, Maria, I think it's important for the people of this country, and they have certainly understood what is their future, what is their vision. You know, by selling the same dream again and again, the dream of Achhe Din, which is not fructified, I don't think it's possible for Mr. Modi and the BJP to deceive the people any further. And finally, and this is something which baffles me, Mr. Modi has gone to the south. Now, when you want to undertake meditation, you undertake meditation in solitude. It's between you and your spirit and divinity. Who carries cameras? Who carries cameras and has himself broadcasted across the world when he's meditating? Isn't this exhibiting megalomania and narcissistic tendencies?
But, you know, that's for a
no, this is reflective of the BJP's one-man party and two-man show.
Mr. Modi has been the dominant image of this election.
So you carry cameras when you're meditating?
That's for Siddharth Yadav to respond. Siddharth, a quick response, 30 seconds on that, and then I be...
Oh, just 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, I didn't know it's going to be so unfair. So anyway, my friend was here complaining about the medium. I think the complaining should not happen that much. The medium is not the problem. The subject is the problem. If you don't have a subject that is sold, if you don't have a subject that can be shown, then why blame the medium? Now you did a mutton party. That was very well covered. I saw the mutton party live on television. On NDTV also. The mutton party happened. Who's participating? Laluji is making the mutton. Who is eating? What are they saying? I saw that. Now the Prime Minister is going to a sadhana. If cameras are there, if television is capturing that, they have a problem with that. The problem with Congress party is, since they can't reciprocate what Prime Minister is doing, since they can't play on that pitch, the pitch of the country, the pitch the country was waiting for. The country was waiting for this self-confidence. It's not about a cultural issue or something about that. It is about regaining your core values, regaining your spiritual, cultural values of this country. That has been done by the Prime Minister.
So now we have discussed the overall elections till phase 6.